guys, to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ryan here with my man, Wally. Wally, man, what a 3-game series for the Astros. They did not just beat Boston, they beat Suarez, Bello, and Crochet in 3 consecutive games.
Yeah, and Crochet made the one mistake to Correa, but they had peppered him up the first 2 innings. He had, for those weren't watching the game, Crochet threw a little nothing slider about 83 miles an hour that he tried to
Yep.
bury. He didn't, and Correa buried it into the Crawford boxes almost to the back wall. It's just a very clean series all the way through. As dirty as the Angels series was, this was really
I
clean.
think,
Red Sox made 4 errors.
Zero.
The Astros made none. They outscored them 23-9, 32-15 in hits. Just stars up and down the lineup. Both
the
pitching
Houston's stars looked like Houston's stars again. There might have been a little bit of nostalgia feeling over this series with Altuve doing his thing, Carlos Correa. Let's not forget Lance McCullers Jr., Christian Vasquez coming back. I mean, it was kind of interesting, man. Some of the names that are really doing the work and really getting some things done. A little bit of nostalgia. It's kind of feeling. It's just kind of feeling right, man.
Yeah, we were at the game Monday night, and you knew when Lance went through the first inning and threw 10 pitches that it could be a different night. And one of the fun things about going to the game, especially where we sit, which is right behind the players, so it's fairly close down. You really get a good feel for how the batters are reacting to the pitchers. You can really tell if they're under it, if they're over it, if they're ahead, behind. And Lance had them off balance all night. He threw 96 pitches. I believe that number is correct. He threw 20 pitches. He threw 20 pitches in an inning one time. He threw 22 pitches in the 7th inning. And he emptied the tank in the 7th inning. He had nothing left, but he was in total control the entire night.
I mean, they had him on. They interviewed him last night during the game, and they were talking a little bit about his pitch selection, and it was really interesting to hear him talk about how he's started to work on his pitch selection and mixing it up. Obviously, kind of segment 1 of the game, segment 2 of the game, but man, he really he's kind of been known for that knuckle curve. That's the 24 pitches, right? That was kind of a bread and butter of his. But 32% of his pitches were that sinker, man, and the velo on that was averaged 93.8. But the key thing that I was reading was that he was doing this tunneling vision with the sinker and the curve so perfect that the pitches looked identical until the last 15 feet, and he was averaging 19 inches of movement on that drop on that sinker, and so the hitters had no idea what the hell was coming.
Yeah, he was pretty. We've talked about Lance on our broadcast, on our shows. And we have said he's a velo guy. He's got to have the velo. As you say, what you're saying, 93.8 was what I was seeing all night on the board. It was 90, 94 on the fastball, 92, 91 on the cutter, 87, 88 on the changeup, and 82, 83 on the curve, pretty consistently. So you've got a good spread between each of his pitches. But they were not so far apart, save the curve to the fastball, that as soon as you see it, you could pick it up right away unless you're looking for it. He was totally in control. It's the best he's looked in years.
9 strikeouts. Lance McCullers, officially the fastest pitcher in franchise history to reach 600 strikeouts. Who would have thought that after everything Lance McCullers has been through, that we would say that we would be saying something like that about this guy. For
And give him another
bury me
50
in the
years, he'll
H
catch
guy.
Nolan.
Like I love Lance McCullers, and man, that that game just, man, it made me feel so good, as a fan,
Yeah,
as
it
a
really did.
former
And
athlete myself, and just kind of knowing what all he's been through. The expectations on him were, they were moderate, I guess, for most people because just all the injuries, and what Lance are we going to get? For him to come out that night and throw a game like that was amazing.
well,
Yeah,
he's certainly found
yeah,
money. No, what you get from Lance right now is you were hoping, but he's truly found money because there's been nothing.
yeah.
He's had a 6-year deal. First year or so, year two were okay, but the last 2 to 3 have
Hmm.
been virtually nothing. Um, this last now he looks like he's got his velocity up to 94, and who knows if this goes through the rest of the year, maybe
Yeah,
they sign him for
yeah,
another year or two. He loves the city. He is a lifetime Astro, and I think they can get him to sign a deal here if the performance comes. And hey, maybe he wants to
yeah.
just go broadcast. Who
Yeah,
knows?
no,
I
I
don't
think
think
if
so.
things keep going this way, he's going to continue to want to. He's going to continue to want to play. So offensive highlights, man. I mean, Altuve, 4 for 4 with 2 solo home runs, scored 4 runs. Alvarez, towering 412-foot 2-run homer. Bryce Matthews logged his first career MLB home run in the 7th inning that night.
No, he hit him last year.
Did he hit one? Oh,
He
he
hit
did.
him
Well,
last year.
I guess he
He had he
did.
had a couple. He had a couple last first one this year, but he hit that.
That was a
He hit
towering shot.
a slider that he should have knocked in. He hit a slider he should
Yeah.
have knocked in the
Yep.
next week because that was just a hit me slider. Let me throw you some OPS numbers for the team. It was a real
Yep.
top heavy lineup in far as performance. Altuve 1.715, Alvarez 1.583, Paredes 833 slacker, Correa 1.144, Walker 750,
Mm.
Cam 1200. One of the things like with Altuve, his OPS is high because he's walking like crazy. He walked
Yep.
55 times last year. He's already up to 8 and 7 games this year, which really one of the reasons that Centron and
Yep.
Snitker lost their jobs was they couldn't get through to the team to
Yep.
clean up their approach.
Yeah.
It's too serious. We don't want to jump on everybody to say,
It's all
"Hey, boy, this
fixed.
is things are yeah, it's all fixed." But there are some trends that are
Yep.
moving in the right
Yep.
direction.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, after McCullers' incredible night, we had another incredible night by the Diesel. Hunter Brown dominated. Wish he would have been able to go a little bit deeper into the game, but 6 innings pitched, allowing 1 hit, 1 earned run, only gave up 2 walks, but also 8 Ks in that game, becoming the second fastest Astros pitcher to reach 600 strikeouts. Back to back consecutive nights. Apparently, that's something that's never happened in the MLB before. So, a cool couple of milestones here. But man, what another game. Alvarez 2 for 3, a home run, 2 RBIs. Carlos Correa
Yeah,
2 hits, 2 RBIs. Christian Walker 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Cam Smith, his first homer of the year. Loperfido knocked in a run. Again, without reading too much into this heavy offense, man, things seem to be looking really, really up, especially against. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's the Boston Red Sox. Guys, the Boston Red Sox went up against 3 legit quality starting pitchers.
yeah. Yeah, one thing with Brown, we've talked about how Brown needs to be more efficient. I really think that Espada took him out, could take him
Yeah.
because of the long game. Yeah, he
Yep.
wants to conserve his innings because he only
Yep.
threw 78 pitches. He only threw 30. He was more efficient per inning than Lance was. Now, he didn't go to the seventh inning where
Right.
Lance threw 22 pitches and ran his pitch count up. But both of them 65% strikes, 13 pitches an inning. Both that's
Yep.
the Brown you want to see. We have friends that we sometimes have a little discussion with and talk about how we say Brown is the Astros number one, but has not necessarily been an ace because he
Mhm.
throws so many pitches. These two performances by Lance and
Yep.
Brown were ace
Yep.
type stuff.
And let's not forget to hat tip Cody Bolton, who was optioned in or who was called up after Roa was sent down because of all of the heavy bullpen usage in the first series against the Angels. Cody Bolton covering those final 3 innings for his first career save, which was an interesting, 3 inning save there, and he come in and striking out five. So Cody Bolton in his first game as a Houston Astro being called up and coming in and shutting the door on that one.
Yeah, no, it was just a great. There wasn't anybody that you look up and said, "Boy, where did this guy go?" There are a few guys that didn't do quite as well. If I look at some of the issues are, the only one that I'm looking at right now and say, from an offensive standpoint, that
Yeah.
is
0 for 8,
Diaz.
0 for 8 in the series, man.
Diaz
Ugh.
Diaz is 1 for 7. The 1 for 7, but whether you're 1 for 7 or 0 for 8,
Yeah.
you're still not very good. I think he had
Oh,
like a
that infield. Yeah, but was
a
that
bloop
considered
hit
an error,
in
not a hit off the glove? Oh,
he
okay.
they showed it as a
Okay.
hit. I pulled the stuff. Yeah, it's just I pull that stuff as just a
Okay.
scrape from ESPN.
Okay. Yeah,
So
Houston striking out Boston 13 times in that
you
game.
know,
That's amazing.
so yeah, not often can you look up at these things and say, "Boy, where
Right.
where is everything?" What is no one
Yeah.
did anything wrong.
Yeah. There's
There's
nothing to
nothing
complain
to
about.
gripe about.
Bizarre story there in the what was that in the fifth inning? Cam Smith's little plate appearance where they lost track of the count, and he probably should have striked out instead, working a walk. Yeah,
Oh, he should have
that should
struck
have been a
out.
strikeout, but they had the counting mistake. And they didn't know what the count was, so they gave him an extra pitch, and he ended up walking. That was just a fun little weird thing that made the game even more fun. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it is what it is. Thankfully for everybody, it was not a situation where um, you
It
could
was a
say
game
that
changer.
it truly
Yeah. Yeah.
cost
Wasn't a
somebody the
game
game.
changer, definitely. Today, April 1st, for those who don't know, and this is going to explain a lot to a lot of people,
Happy
is yep,
birthday, by
it's
the
not an
way.
April Fool's joke. Today is actually my birthday. So the Astros pulled off another victory, 6-4 today. Um, another good solid game. Don't let the score fool you. It wasn't quite as close as the score would make it seem. Burrows, 5 innings, giving up
Yeah,
5 hits, 2 earned runs,
objects. Yeah,
3 walks, and 6 strikeouts in 5 innings.
yeah, objects were not as close in the rearview
Yes,
mirror as
yeah,
they might
very
seem.
true. Very true.
Yeah, it was. It was. This was the game that we all looked
If
at and
Boston's going to
said,
win one, this will be the easiest
we can
one to
get the
get.
first
Yeah.
two. Yeah, I mean, we felt pretty good about last week, about
Yep.
yesterday's game with Hunter. Lance was a 50-50, and Crochet was good. They came out right away and scored. Walker had an RBI, had an early RBI. The Burrows gave up a run in the first, a run in the second, and the Astros came back and
Correa's 3-run homer in the fifth.
and
Yep.
came back and tied it up. So it was it was no, that was I take that. Boston's had one in the first, one in the second to tie the Astros up, who had
Oh, there
scored
you
two
go.
in the
Yep.
bottom of the first. Walker had a key
Yep.
had a key 2-out hit. But it was it was just a it was just a it was nice. It was just kind of a routine, not a blowout win, but it was the kind of win where you say you never felt like after Correa hit that 3-run
With
homer
two
that they were really
outs,
in any trouble.
which really, when you start looking at some of
Right.
the way that some of this offense has been produced over these last 5 games, Houston's cashing in on late count mistakes by these pitchers and late in innings.
Yeah.
And they're not giving up an inning just because there's 2 outs, a guy on base or whatever. And then on the flip side, Boston went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, left 7 on base. The Astros have really, again, at least in these last 5 games, they've figured out how to keep the pedal down and not let off when it's time to start scoring and taking advantage. I mean, in my opinion, like you said, we said it. This was probably today was probably the most statement game of the series, and maybe even of the last, the first 7 games of the season here so far. Just because Crochet being that headliner, second coming in second in Cy Young voting, and Houston still found a way to give the knockout punch to Crochet.
Last year, too, the Astros have been much maligned, rightly so, for how they hit with
Yeah,
runners in scoring position. They had
yeah,
296 for the series. It's a little stat that I've followed for 2 or 3 years. You take the number of games or people you leave on base and divide it into the number of runs that you score in the series. If you keep that number below 1.5, you generally have a good chance to win over a period of time. Well, the Astros had left 13 men on base for the series. The 13 men on more than that missed one, but they left 19 men on base for the series.
yep,
Okay, they scored 30. They scored 23 runs. Okay, so they scored more runs than
yep,
guys they left on base. Just on the face, you can figure you're probably going to win lots of games unless you leave 4 guys on base and
yeah,
score 5 runs in the
right,
series. And it's not perfect, but it gives you a pretty good idea. Hitting 296, 8 for 27 with
yep,
runners in scoring position.
yep,
That's good stuff. Correa's home run was with
mhm,
2 outs. You mentioned that. That's 3 runs. 3 runs with 2 outs.
yep,
That's half your runs with 2
yep.
outs.
Burrows, who after his first start, we were kind of a little on the way that he looked against the
Yeah.
Angels. He looked really good today. That curveball, uh, his curveball averaged 2950 RPM, which is a top 5% of all MLB curveballs. He was throwing some elite movement today.
Yeah. What is average
So yeah, you
curveballs
could
about
say somewhere around
26?
there, 26, 2650, but 2950, that was the average. I don't have a top. I don't have what his highest spin rate was, but I mean that's elite curveball stuff. And watching how some of those pitches moved and the way that he got those guys to miss on it, uh, that was. he only had 6 strikeouts, but you could probably argue that there was a lot more that they just put a slap on the ball that probably they just barely got a bat on it. He easily could have had,
No, I thought he
eight,
was
nine, or
really,
10 strikeouts with the way that curveball was working.
they had
Yeah,
their chances to get him early. They got him. They
yeah,
got him for a run in the first. Got him for a run in the second. One of the last 3 innings he pitched, he was really good. And they were saying on TV today that TK and Blum were saying this was his
yeah,
highest pitch count ever. Got to
yeah,
remember the guy's a second-year guy and really didn't
yeah.
get that much work last year. We've said it before on the show that Burrows opened a lot of eyes with the Astros last year when the Astros went to Pittsburgh, and
Hmm.
Burrows dominated the Astros. Now, the Astros offense last year was not good, but still, here's a rookie pitcher with taking a veteran lineup
Hmm.
and chewing it up. Um, he mixed the pitches better this time. His location was better last against the Angels. The pitches were up; these were down. He changed speeds. He was in very much in control after the
Yeah,
after the second
yeah,
inning.
definitely. Another interesting stat: he had a 35% CSW on that curveball. For those who don't know, CSW is called strike plus whiff rate. And so anything above a like 29 or 30 is considered elite. And so he had a 35% CSW on that pitch alone. Crazy. So speaking of pitching,
Let's see other
yeah,
guys that came in right.
do we need to dig in and talk about Brian Abreu again?
Okay, people can see the obvious that he's not been pitching well. Um, I talked to a friend during the game who was a college catcher, and we both were looking at him, and his slider was not a real big problem.
Yep.
He could spot the slider. It looked to us that he was falling out of his fastball, meaning that when he threw his fastball as a
He was
right-hander, he
leaning
was
out of it.
falling off
Yep.
to his left. What that would do is pull the ball to either pull it
Yep.
off the plate to the left or slide it to the or fade it to the right. Either way, you don't have a lot of support. Now, he did get a little better, and he struck out the last guy. I believe he struck the last
100,
guy out with a fastball,
100.4 mile per
and he
hour
started to get
pitch. Fastest pitch of the year so far. Yeah.
yeah. So if he can at 104, his mechanics
Has to
have
be.
to be right. So maybe he was figuring it out more during the game. He has got to figure it out because they're not even talking about
Yep. Yep.
Hader coming. I mean, if the Astros get Hader back before the 1st of May,
Yep.
it's a plus. Even if he comes back, who knows how much they're going to want to pitch him so they don't
Yep.
hurt his arm again. I mean, this does not seem to be a major issue. It's a biceps tendonitis, and biceps tendonitis just needs to
Yeah.
it just got to rest
Yep.
him.
Man, I guess my last couple notes here on the series, the walk correction after walking 21 batters against the Angels. These guys only issued 8 walks this entire series. So I think it goes to show that command is the difference between a series split and a series sweep. So I think that's
Yeah.
that's a huge key difference between this series with the Angels and the series here um with the Sox. Any final thoughts on the series before we maybe do a little preview and talk about headed up to the Coors Field of the AL West?
Yeah, the only other thing I says Vasquez
Yeah,
looks really comfortable.
yeah,
He looks really
yeah.
comfortable with the
We
staff.
said that.
We kind of bemoaned not
A
giving
lot of people
Salazar a
did.
chance to play, but yeah, Vasquez looks like he looks more comfortable. He handles the staff well. He's hitting better than Diaz. Diaz might be on the clock because if Diaz can't hit, they'll go
might.
get somebody at
They might.
the
They've
deadline.
given him some. They've given him
Let's see what
his
else.
fair due to figure out what's going on. 42% chase rate for Diaz.
Yeah, I expect Pena to go full time in the A's series. I really do. I think that it's going to. It's time. Yeah, we would think.
Well, Sutter Health Park
and
is
we go
not.
to
It's not a big field. 330 down the lines, only 401 to center.
no.
This is a series where Jordan, or
And it's at
it is a
altitude.
series where Jordan could get some playing time in a smaller ballpark in left field if Pena comes back and takes a full-time position, leaving the DH open for Paredes and or Altuve played 7 games in a row. Maybe they start cycling in and getting some DH time for Altuve, get Paredes a little bit time in the field. We may start to see that merry-go-round of the infield here now after these first 7 games.
Yeah, and it's the times it's worked so far. The Astros have favorable pitching matchups coming up. The A's are off to a 1-5 start. And so it's a team that came out of spring training out of last year with a lot of hope. You want to step on them right away. You want to step on their throats and not give them a chance to do anything. They've got Christian Javier, who's probably the one question the Astros have had out of the starting lineup, starting pitchers against Jeffrey Springs, who's a good pitcher that the A's got last year from Tampa. Imai against Morales. It's going to be interesting to see Imai. He's going to be at altitude. It could be drier. He had issues with grip. He's had issues with grip on the ball. It's going to be a little tough. McCullers against Jacob Lopez. Now, each of these guys that Springs has a 3.38 ERA, so he's had a good start. Morales had a bad start. His ERA is over 10, and Lopez is in the 7 range. So, you got to figure you're going to score some runs in.
Well, I mean, this
Sacramento.
Let's see. Sutter Health Park has a 1.17 runs factor, which is second highest in the MLB outside of Coors Field.
So what Ryan's talking about is if you take your average stadium and it's 1, if your stadium is a 0.8, means that you're going to score 80% of what everybody else, what the normal stadium scores. And if you're 1.17, well, you're going to score about 20% more, a little under 20% more at that stadium than the average stadium will.
Yeah.
But it's sitting there for them. You talked about this a few shows ago. The early schedule is helpful. It's advantageous. They need to take advantage of it. They need to, for their own. I mean, they feel good, and now they need to go and step on it because they step on the A's, and then they need to go step on the Rockies. So when they get to Seattle at the end of this road trip, that they're on a roll and hopefully got some space between them because Seattle's not off to, it's early. They're not off to a terrible start, but they're 3-4. They got waxed by the Yankees.
Let's see here. Just going back through my notes. Anything else?
I think Yankees took 2 out of 3. I think that's what I was thinking. They've had 1 homestand. It's what I'm going to be looking for in the road trip. This is a 9-game, 10-day road trip. I'm going to be looking to see if some of these emerging trends that we have talked about hold up. The nice thing about a good approach is good approaches should travel.
Yep. I think the key for me, the key thing is going to be continuing to keep that offense going. Because what you're seeing here is just a mixture of, you're going to see a mixture of different pitching opportunities going through some guys in an easy ballpark, one in Sacramento, two Coors Field and the Rockies. I think the Astros are going to probably have a pretty good couple of series, and through that, though, they're going to have to make sure that they understand that when they get up to Seattle, it's going to be a tougher. It's this is the downside of a soft start, is potentially
Yeah.
the how do you say, not the faux confidence, because you're still building confidence, you're still playing against MLB teams, for God's sake, but don't get so don't get that faux confidence that you walk into Seattle and you're like, oh crap, we weren't ready for this because we were playing at easier ballparks and playing less elite pitching and teams having to deal with um, the Angels and the Bo Sox.
I think the Astros are. I think the Astros are going to go
Yeah,
there
and
with
I
a
sure
chip
hope
on their
so.
shoulder.
I sure hope
I think
so.
they're going to go into. I think they're going to go into Seattle and say, guys, you
Yep.
you're beating your chest
Yep.
because you won a division once when we
Yep.
were a walking mash unit.
Yep.
You know, we're gonna show. Daddy's
Yeah.
daddy's
Yeah.
back in town.
Well, I just, that it just seems as though, and if they can, again, if they can keep it up, this is a small sample size here that we're talking about, but man, elite level defense,
Yeah.
the bats have gotten it figured out to a certain extent. They're not swinging at crazy pitches and they're taking their walks. Pitching command has figured it out. They're working the counts. They're doing all the right things. And again, against
Hmm.
Suarez, Bello, and Crochet, I think this Boston series, despite what Boston's offense did, what this Astros team did against that pitching, we can talk about how great our pitching was too. But for me, and I think we've talked about the pitching we feel pretty confident about. It was the offense that we were kind of just like, are these guys are they gonna figure it out? Are some of these older guys gonna be able to get back to some level of production that we need them to be? And to have seen what they did against Ranger Suarez, Bello, and Crochet, their confidence level should be high, because I think they've shown that
Yeah.
they've got what it takes to go up against some of MLB's best pitching.
Two things I'm looking for. Two things I'm looking for on the road trip. Number of
Hmm.
pitches that they see
Yep.
versus how many they throw. Are the hitters still going to right field? Are they still going off field? If those two things stick, they'll be okay because
Yep.
they're sticking to their
Yep.
approach.
100%. Well, we looks like we kind of, yeah, man, we came right up against our time here. So we're doing good. Any final thoughts before we
Yeah.
say goodbye to the people?
No, no, it's you're happy for what you saw. You don't want to. We've been. We hope we haven't gone too far over the top because it's
Yep.
it's early. They're at the first. We heard someone say today that if this was a marathon, we're just
It's
about
very
the
true.
first mile.
And that is very true.
So
It is very true.
so let's y- you coming through April. You just want to get out of
Hmm.
April in contact. You don't, you're not going to
Yep.
win it, but you can lose it. And they want to make sure that they're
Yep.
towards the top of the
My
division.
my if you remember, my 88 game plan was to go 18-10 through April and play 520 ball the rest of the season. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye. We'll
Yeah.
keep an eye on that.
No,
I
I
need to
mean
maybe do like the little thermometer chart or something here and be keeping track of.
yeah. No, I had them in 82 and 80 and I had them 82 and 80 just because of
Yeah.
what we seen last year and what we saw in the spring wasn't that great, but they
Yep.
played a lot better
Yep.
than that
We'll
this
see.
series.
We'll see how it goes headed into Sacramento. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. We are working on the YouTube channel thing. So here before too long, you'll be able to catch us, one, post episodes in videos format on YouTube, and two, hopefully live streaming out to YouTube as well pretty soon. But until next time, I'm Ryan. That's my man, Wally. We're Dirt
And
Diamond Sports Talk. Go Stros. We'll see
go
you
Astros.
guys next time.